Okay, so I'm bringing back the whole coping, depression, and anxiety theme again. Sorry for anyone who doesn't feel they need it or doesn't like it, but I don't know. I just feel a personal obligation to share what I know and what I've learned with other people, and maybe it'll help them. I don't know. Okay, so this is battling depression and obtaining happiness and maintaining that happiness. Okay, so depression is something a lot of people don't understand, but they will understand it someday, because we will all experience at least one episode of depression in our lifetime. Some of us got lucky and we got to experience ours before everybody else in the beginning. So, we're like level 20 in the video game and they're still like level 3. So we're a little bit ahead of them. We don't have to feel bad that we're depressed. We're just getting more experience than they are. Okay. Everyone's probably just like, what? Let's see here. Where was I? Depression can be difficult because it makes doing anything hard. Like anything. Things you want to do, you don't feel like doing them. Things you have to do, you don't feel like doing them. Like, you know what you want to do, you know what you need to do, you know what you should be doing, but you don't feel like doing any of it. And other people, like, don't get that. They just think that you're lazy or reclusive or weird. They aren't necessarily, a lot of people aren't supportive, needless to say. Most of them are critical. And they might tell you things like, oh, you need to go out and do this and you'll feel better, and you need to go out and do that, and da-da-da-da-da. And you're just like, they're not depressed. They don't understand me. Why should I take their advice? They don't know what they're talking about. Okay. But I know what you're talking about. I understand you. And you understand me, obviously. If you're depressed, we understand each other. Okay. So, sorry, I keep referencing my notebook. I wrote this when I had like just done my nails, and I was like writing like really bad, and it's like chicken scratch, and like I can't even read my own handwriting. Like, maybe I'm supposed to become a doctor. I doubt it. Okay. So you might not know why you're depressed, and that's okay. You don't need a reason to be depressed, because depression is both environmental, circumstantial, and biological. So you could have the perfect life ever. You could be a millionaire, you could drive a Ferrari, you could have like 3 girlfriends and a boyfriend, and you'll be depressed. Well, I take that back, because that might cause conflict. I'm just gonna say, you could have tons of money, you could have everything you want, everything you need, and no reason to be sad, and you could still be sad. Depression does not discriminate. Literally anybody can be depressed, even if they don't have a reason. It's just, sometimes it's just chemicals in your noggin, okay? A lot of people don't even realize they're depressed. And the people who cope with their depression usually don't do it in a healthy way. Most people do drugs, become alcoholics, binge eat. They don't know how. They don't know what to do. They don't realize there's anything wrong, and they don't know how to fix it. A lot of times things happen where people pass on their mental health issues genetically, biologically, to their children, but they themselves haven't identified the issues they have, and they themselves do not know how to cope with them. So their child ends up with all this stuff, and the parent doesn't tell them what it is, or what to do, or how to handle it, or how to cope with it, or anything. If you are depressed and have mental health issues, and you have children, and you are aware of your problem, you need to be coaching them on that shit since birth, okay? You have like a personal obligation to sit your child down when they become a certain age, explain to them what depression is, what sadness is, what anxiety is, what it all feels like, what OCD is, what happens in your brain, and tell them, if you ever feel this way or experience this, you need to come talk to me right away. But people don't have those conversations with their kids. Most people don't even tell their kids about sex. So why would they tell them about prolonged sadness and crazy, scary thoughts you can't get rid of in your brain? Like, nobody talks about this. But you, if you are suffering from this and you have children, please, it's your responsibility to talk to them, teach them, show them how to live, and teach them how to cope with this shit, okay? I'm done yelling now. I'm done ranting. So, as a person suffering from depression, I feel like I have a personal obligation um, to help others who are going through the same thing. And camera, what you doing? um, and I feel like I have a personal obligation to help others with what they're going through and make them feel understood, because that's a huge part of depression, where you feel alone. You're surrounded by people who don't understand what you're going through. They don't understand why you're upset. They don't understand why you're sad. They don't understand why you need to be alone. They don't understand anything about you at all, and that just makes it so much worse. Okay, so if you are depressed and you know someone who's depressed, we gotta have a buddy system here, okay? This shit is serious. Like, you need to be out there and helping other people with depression, because only you understand them and know what they're going through, and only you can give them that sense of belonging and make them feel understood. I don't know why I'm yelling today. I'm really sorry. A little too much passion here today. Um I mean, it's there every day, but it doesn't always shine through. Okay, so I already talked about how parents need to coach their kids on this since birth. So here is the coping part for depression. I already have, I think, 3 videos for this. One of them is kind of funny. I wouldn't take it too seriously. It's kind of a joke. It's called The Benefits of Depression, and I will provide a link or annotation somewhere on my nose, maybe? I don't know. I haven't really figured out how to do that yet. The other one is how to motivate yourself. How to get yourself to do stuff, little things. Just get out of bed, take a shower, put on your clothes, go to work. Don't forget to eat. Okay. The other one is coping with negative thinking. So I'll put all those in the description or around somewhere. Okay. I apologize. When I first started out on YouTube, I had a really crappy camera, and I'm sorry. But I just felt like I needed to get a lot of information out there, and as long as you can hear me and kind of see my face, I thought that was good enough. But luckily, I've upgraded. Anyways, I apologize for the bad quality of those older videos. Moving on. This might get a little repetitive. Some of this is in the other videos, but I just want to repeat it so it's all in one place. But you're welcome to go look at the other ones too, because they might have a little extra information. Okay. So, coping. List making. I have a whole notebook of lists of things I need to do every day, and I check them off, and I fill in the things, and if I didn't make that list of things I really needed to do, and I didn't give myself that false sense of accomplishment by crossing them off every time I did something, I would not do anything. The only reason I do stuff is because it's on a list. The only reason I'm filming this right now is because it's on a list. And I know that might sound like a really sucky way to live, but when you have no motivation and you don't want to do anything and you have things you want to do and you know you need to get them done, sometimes you have to do silly things to make yourself do it. For me, that's putting it on a list. If it's on a list, I have to do it. I make the list of things, I look at the list, and I pick the thing I feel like doing the most or the easiest thing on that list, and I start there. Sometimes I have to remind myself of that. I have to write on the list. Start with what's the easiest. Because once you start doing something, it makes it easier to do the rest of the things. I read somewhere that if you make your bed right away in the morning, as long as you do that one thing, it'll make doing everything else easier. Journaling is another good tool, especially if you don't really have anyone to talk to or who understands you. You can kind of just write about all your feelings, reread it later on, and maybe get some more self-awareness, figure out how you're feeling or why you feel the way you do. It's just a healthy thing to do, especially if you don't have anyone to share that with who will get it. Medicine is another thing. It didn't work for me, but it works for other people. My hip hurts. I got problems. Sorry. I've tried Paxil, Cymbalta, Wellbutrin, Lexapro, Prozac, Effexor, Trazodone. I know there's more. I've tried basically every kind of antidepressant there is in every category of antidepressants, and none of them worked for me. One of them gave me an anxiety attack, other ones triggered panic disorder, and another one made it so that I was unable to have an orgasm. So it really depends on your chemical makeup and your biology and the balance of things in your body. I'm not going to say all of you, if you take medicine, you're going to experience any of that, but some of you might. It's going to take a long time to figure out what works for you, and you may never find what works for you. It's process. I'm not saying don't do it, and I'm not saying do it. I'm just giving you my experience and what might happen or not happen. It's good to have hobbies. I don't know, if you're depressed, it's hard to even imagine having a hobby, but once you start list making, maybe once you get on medicine, start journaling, maybe it'll be easier. Maybe it'll just come to you. Maybe you'll find something you enjoy doing, even if it's weird. I like to read about true crime. I used to feel guilty for being interested in true crime, but I realized it makes me happy. I enjoy it. It doesn't hurt anybody, so why not? You know, just find out what you like and do it. If it's making YouTube videos, if it's blogging, if it's sewing, if it's fishing, I don't know. But it's important to make time for those things. I know when you're depressed, doing anything doesn't sound appealing, and a lot of things seem like a waste of time. But literally every little action you take, there's a reward for that action. Getting out of bed, you'll feel proud of yourself. Taking a shower, you'll feel better. Taking care of yourself, you'll feel better. Going to work, you'll make money. You'll feel proud of yourself. You know, little baby steps, little sense of achievement. If you get a hobby, you'll have fun. You'll be distracted. Hanging out with friends, you'll be maintaining and preserving that relationship. And you'll have fun, and you'll feel proud of yourself. Everything you do, there's a reward for that. So whenever you don't feel like doing something, you need a little voice in your head to sort of narrate and remind you, well, I don't want to do this, but I need to do this because da 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 da. And I talk a lot about that in my um, how to motivate yourself movie video, whatever. Um, Emotional regulation is another thing. I've read a lot of books on emotional intelligence and emotional regulation. I've been in therapy for, I don't know, 4 years. It's very important to learn how to cope with your emotions, and how to cope with being suicidal too. If you are suicidal, you need to tell someone. You need to call a crisis line. You need to make sure you're not alone. Um, if you're feeling sad, you need to, let yourself feel sad for a little while, but don't let yourself feel sad all day. You have a right to feel your feelings, but you need to manage your feelings. So when you're sad, tell yourself, I'm only going to be sad for this long, and then after that I have to move on to something else and do something else. I'm in pain. My foot's falling asleep. um, when you're angry, that's another thing. A lot of people get really angry and they don't know how to handle it. Just emotional regulation in general is good to know, especially if you're depressed, because when you're depressed, you experience your emotions so much more intensely than other people. Oh, okay. Eliminating the negative and changing what you can. Yes. Um, if you are depressed, you need to write down what makes you depressed in your life, and you need to choose what you can change about it and change that. The rest of it, you need to accept and cope with it as best you can. If you need other resources and therapy for that, that's okay, and you don't have to be ashamed. I would also suggest making a list of everything that makes you happy and brings you joy, and to incorporate something from that list into your life every day. Um, Maintaining your happiness. Just because you feel sad doesn't mean you're spiraling into a depressive episode. Everyone gets sad sometimes, so if you start feeling sad, don't assume that you're heading towards a pitfall. Um, Maintaining your happiness is really hard because you make a personal choice that no matter what happens, you're not going to let it take your happiness away from you. And a lot of the time, you have to fake your happiness. If you fake it, you make it. I want you to adopt an attitude of someone who's always laughing and who's always smiling, somebody who's crazy, somebody who's laughing at their own pain and their own challenges and laughing at all the bad. You need to have a morbid sense of humor for this. You need to have a little, you need to be cynical sometimes. You need to be able to smile at the face of death, okay? I have friends who have this attitude. They have a lot of anxiety, they have a lot of problems, but whenever you talk to them, they're always smiling. I mean, sure, their smile looks a little crazy and a little insane, but it's better than them wallowing away in despair. So pretend you're the Joker, pretend you're Harley Quinn, do whatever you need to. Just make sure that you smile and laugh and you're able to make fun of your challenges. What's next? Gratitude. Gratitude is a huge thing in depression. I know it sounds stupid, but you need to learn how to be grateful for the little things in life. Grateful to have a house and clothes and all the things we have living in the United States. You go down to the grocery store and you have food already there. You don't have to hunt for food. You don't have to gather your food. You don't have to make your clothes. You have cars. You can drive. You don't have to walk far. You don't have people. You don't have armies of people trying to kill you in the streets. You're not getting bombed. I mean, there's just so much to be grateful for. And we take it all for granted. And if you stop and think every day of what we have, what you have, and appreciate it, it makes it a lot easier to be happy. This is getting like a really long video. And my back hurts. But yeah. I already mentioned all the other things on here. Sorry, it's a lot of information. I hope some of it helped you. And leave a comment. Tell me about your depression. Tell me how you cope with it. Maybe you can help somebody else. Anyways, bye.